勇敢地往前冲吧。
有想法就有办法，
有办法就不用怕，我们一起到达。我相信我可以，有目标就往上爬。
你相信你可以勇敢地往前冲吧。
有想法就有办法，
有办法就不用怕，
我们一起到达。
我相信我可以，有目标就往上爬。
你相信你可以，勇敢地往前冲吧。到达是 number one， 强大的企业家，超越表现的力量，我们一起到达是 number one， 强大的企业家，超越表现的力量。我相信我可以，有目标就。
Hi everyone. Good morning, everyone. Wow, it's Friday morning again, and yes, we're gonna start our Facebook Live at 11 o'clock. Yeah, we are going to start our Facebook Live at 11 o'clock sharp. Yeah, it's just about 10 more minutes more to go. And thanks for joining me so early. Thanks for coming in so early, right? Don't go anywhere. Please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, right? Stay with us in our Facebook Live because we are going to start at 11 o'clock sharp. And I'm going to review to you another secret. Yes, today I'm going to review to you another secret, another technique on how to solve tax audit issue. Yes, today I'll share with you another case, yeah, another tax audit case and how we actually solve that tax audit case. Yeah, I will reveal to you the secrets on my technique. Yeah, so don't go anywhere, stay tuned with us and do one thing. Since you're so early, help me on one thing. You see, you can look at the bottom of a screen, you will see the share button, right? You see the share button, whether you're seeing it from a phone or you're viewing it from a computer, you will find the share button. Share this out with your friends, your family, your business partner, your business associates. Let all of them learn this secret together with you, right? It's not often that I always reveal my secret on techniques to solve tax audit issues. So do it right now. Share this Facebook Live by just clicking the share button and we will start at 11 o'clock, yeah? So I will see you at 11 o'clock.
我相信我可以，有目标就往上爬。
你相信你可以勇敢的往前冲吧。
有想法就有办法，
有办法就不用怕，我们一起到达，是 number one， 强大的企业家，超越表现的力量，我们一起到达，是 number one， 强大的企业家，超越表现的力量。我相信我可以，有目标就往上爬。
你相信你可以，勇敢的往前冲吧。
有想法就有办法，有办法就
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Wow. In another 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes, yeah, we are going to start our Facebook Live today. That would start at 11 sharp, right? At 11 o'clock sharp. So, I know you're very early. I know you can't wait for my Facebook Live to start, and I will today reveal to you another secret. Yes, I am going to reveal to you another secret, which is another technique to solve tax audit issue. Yeah, and yes, today, if you have seen the title, we're gonna talk about traveling. Yes, we're gonna talk about expenses relating to traveling. How do we actually solve a tax audit issue in relation to traveling? Now, in just a few more minutes, we are going to start at 11 o'clock sharp, right? At 11 o'clock sharp. So, since you're early, help me do one thing. That is to share this Facebook Live out with your friends, your family, your business partner, your business associates, etc. Yeah, do it by just clicking the share button. Below. Yeah, whether you're viewing it from a computer or you are seeing it from a phone, you would see that share button. Click that share button out, or if you have anyone in your mind that you want them to learn this together with you, just tag their name. Just immediately tag their name in the comment box so that they know there is this Facebook Live going on and there is this secret being revealed by myself to solve tax audit issue. So do it right now. We're gonna start at 11 o'clock. We only have a few minutes left. Yeah, share it out right now, and I'll see you at 11 o'clock. Yeah, I'll see you at 11.
我相信我可以，有目标就往上爬。你相信你可以，勇敢的往前冲吧。有想法就有办法，有办法就不用怕。我们一起到达，都是 number one， 强大的企业家，超越表现的力量。我们一起到达。我相信我可以，有目标就往上爬。你相信你可以，勇敢的往前冲吧。有想法就有办法，有办法就不用怕。我们一起。
All right, it's 11 a.m. in the morning on a Friday morning. Yes, and we are starting our Facebook Live today that is on Secrets Revealed, Techniques to Solve Tax Audit Issue. Yes, today I am going to reveal to you another secret, yes, another secret and another technique to solve tax audit issue. Yeah, wow, thank you so for joining me so punctual. Yeah, thank you for being punctual. Yeah, we are starting, we have just started. Yeah, don't worry if you have just joined us. And yeah, of course, if you have just joined us, let me just remind you again. Yeah, we have just started. Now you still have the opportunity to share this Facebook Live out with your friends, your family, your business partner, business associate, yeah, by just clicking the share button. By just clicking the share button below, you can also get your friends, your family, your business partners, business associates to learn this secret together with you. All right, today we are going to talk about traveling related expenses. Wow, I see some of you join me very early, like Richard. Hi, Richard Lyon. Hi, Richard. Hi, morning to you again. Wow, looks like you have been joining us every week, yeah? And I see Silgo, I see Cheryl Tang, I see Annie Yap, I see Chiungo, I see Chi Yang. Wow, thank you so much, Chi Yang. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, you have told me that you have just shared. Thank you so much. And oh, FK Wong, right? Thank you. Hi, FK Wong. Yeah, good morning to you. Well, looks like today everyone is very punctual to learn about techniques to solve tax audit issues, yeah? And yes, let me just go straight to my slide. Yes, yeah. Now, I can see right now we have more than 50 people already. We have more than 50 people right now on this Facebook Live. In fact, we have 60 over people. Now, as usual, you know, a very usual question that I'll ask all of you is that, is this your very first time joining us? Is this your very first time joining our Facebook Live on techniques to solve tax audit issues? Is this your first time? Now, let me know how many times have you actually joined us, right? Like if you're joining us for the very first time, please put one. Please put one in the comment box. Yeah, I want this to be more interactive. Like I always say, yeah, in my Facebook Live session, I want it to be very interactive because I want to answer to your questions. If you have any questions at all, you can always put your questions in to the comment box so that I can answer to you. So if this is your first time coming in, well, put number one in the comment box. If this is your second time, put 2. If it's your third time, put 3, of course. Yeah. If this is your 5th time, because this is episode 5, this is the 5th episode already. If this is the 5th time coming in, you can put 5. You can put 5 in the comment box. Let me see whether this is your first time, second time, third time, or so forth, right? How many times have you joined us? Okay, I see Janice Tay also saying good morning. Hi, morning to you, Janice. I see Christina. Okay, Christina says 1, right? So this is your first time. Hi, Christina, welcome. I see So Cheng T also the first timer. Li Fong. I see Sim Tan Rufen. Well, also first timer. Wow, so it looks like we have a few first timers today. Yeah, I see Ashley. Ashley also a first timer, putting number 1. Cheryl is number 5. Wow, Cheryl. Looks like you have been joining us many rounds. Yeah, this is your 5th time, yeah. Well, Chi Yang say first for this series. Tom is 5th time. Ishan, Richard 5th time. Wow. So looks like a lot of you are joining us for the many times already, yeah. Jen Chong 2nd time. Okay, now those first timers. Now if this is your very first time joining us in our Secrets Revealed series, right? Techniques to solve tax audit issue. Don't worry for missing out the previous sessions. Don't worry for missing out the previous episodes because what you can do is very simple. Go to my Facebook page, that is Tax Guru Zen Chow. Go to my Tax Guru Zen Chow Facebook page. You will be able to find the previous 4 episodes, yeah, in the video session, because all these Facebook Live that we have done, it has been all recorded now and it's in the video, right? In the video in my Facebook page, right? Just go to my Facebook page, Tax Guru Zen Chow, yeah? Wow, okay, since there's so many first timers this time, yeah? Now, I know you probably have heard of me, being the tax guru, all right, of YYC, yeah? Because people call me the tax guru of YYC. But now, that's just what people call me, yeah? The fact is that I'm actually the tax director. I'm the head of tax department of YYC Group. And in case you were still thinking, hey, who is YYC actually? Yeah, let me just quickly introduce who YYC is to you, yeah? Now, YYC is actually an accounting and advisory firm. We were established since 1974, and our aim is to empower entrepreneurial success. Yes, that's our aim, yeah. Now, but to do that, of course, we have our vision. Our vision is to be the number one, right? Number one world-class accounting and advisory firm in Asia. But more importantly is our mission. What is our mission over here? We want to inspire everyone so that everyone can overcome their odds, and more importantly is to unleash the potential and find fulfillment in life. Yes, that's what our mission is. We want everyone to unleash their potential, find fulfillment in life here. Now, to do that, YYC have three very important brand promises. Yeah, these are the three brand promises that we always uphold. The first one is to share our expertise. Yes, the reason why we have our Facebook Live, yeah, every week to teach you, to reveal our secrets to you, right, on techniques to solve tax audit issues. That's because we want to share our expertise to everyone. That's one of our brand promises, And of course, we want to show proactive care, right, the most proactive care to our clients. Not just normal care, yeah, it's proactive care, because we want all our clients to have the most positive experience ever, yeah. Now, you may think YYC is probably just a normal accounting firm out there, which is not right, because a normal accounting firm would just have compliance services like audit, accounting, and audit, accounting, and tax services, yeah. But in YYC, we have much more than that, because we have our own advisory arm now, and we have a lot of different advisory services like strategic planning, succession planning, valuation, or even cloud transformation. Yeah, I know a lot of people wants to go digitalize right now, right? And we want help people to do digital transformation, cloud transformation. We also have our own business school. That means we hold a lot of seminars, workshops from time to time. We also serve overseas company with our global business services like outsource accounting, outsource bookkeeping, outsource payroll, etc. Yeah. Now, so YYC, like I said, established since 1974. Now we have more than 46 years experience, right? And we are international. Yes, we have gone international because we don't just have branch in Malaysia, we also have branch in Singapore, and we have more than 800 employees, yeah, serving more than 20,000 clients. We have more than 120,000 participants because we have held more than 5,000 workshops throughout all these years, yeah. And these are all the awards given to YYC throughout these years, okay. And like I said, YYC is now international. We don't just have branch in Malaysia, we also have branch in Singapore, and at the same time in Malaysia, we have branches in Klang Valley area, in Johor, in Penang. Yeah, so these are a very simple introduction of YYC. Now we have close to 100 people already. Wow, close to 100 people. So as usual, like I said, I want this to be very interactive. Yeah, those who have just joined us, let you know that today we don't want this to be very one-sided. I do not want to just tell you, and teach you things, but I want feedback from your side. So if you have got any questions at all throughout this Facebook live session, feel free to put your questions into the comment box, right? Feel free to put your comments into the comment box or questions into the comment box so that I can answer to them, right? Because today we are here to learn, right? To learn the techniques to solve tax audit issues. All right, so I am going to go straight to my secrets revealed, right? Techniques to solve tax audit issues. And I can see we have close to 100 people already, So let me get things started. Today, we are going to discuss on one more issue, and this is episode number 5, issue number 5. And today's issue is about traveling. Yes, traveling expenses. Now, I know a lot of you would incur traveling expenses. I know a lot of you would travel here, travel there, or be it business traveling or personal traveling, where you have a lot of traveling expenses. So a lot of people would always ask me, if I were to travel, can I get tax deduction out of this? Now the very simple rule for traveling is, if it is business traveling, and if it fulfills or satisfies Section 33, right? Section 33 of the Income Tax Act 1967, then I would say yes, it will be tax deductible, right? So let me repeat, if it is a business traveling and if it satisfies Section 33 of the Income Tax Act 1967, yes, it will be deductible. But now, if in case this is your very first time, because I see a lot of first timers here coming in for our Facebook Live today, now, if this is your first time, right? You may have not heard me talking about Section 33, right? Of course, those who have joined me many times, right? Bear with me for a while, right? Now, what is Section 33 all about? You see, Section 33 is the section that says your expenses can be deductible, right? But there are a few conditions over here. Now, if we take traveling for expense, for instance, right? If we take traveling for instance, how can a traveling be deductible? It has to fulfill all these conditions, right? The conditions in Section 33. The first is that it must be an outgoing an expense. Yeah, of course, right? If you incur a traveling expense, it should be an outgoing, right? But more importantly, it must be wholly and exclusively. Now, this is very important for traveling because just now, like I mentioned, traveling, it can be your business traveling, it can be your private traveling. If it's a private traveling, it's not wholly and exclusively incurred for business, because when I say wholly and exclusively, it means the traveling must be wholly and exclusively for business purpose. No private usage, no private element, right? So it must be for business, right? It must be wholly and exclusively. Of course, it must be incurred. That means you have the obligation to pay already, right? You have an invoice, you have a receipt, right? It has been incurred. It's not just an estimate, right? It's not just a provision, not just an estimate. And it must be during that period. That means you incur something in that period, and that period of expenses, yes, that will be a deductible expense for that period. So if you incur something after that period or before that period, you only get deduction before or after the period, not during the period. So you must incur something within that period, yeah. But most important thing is it must be in the production of gross income. Now, what does it mean by in the production of gross income? Now, your traveling must come with a purpose. You can't just say, oh, okay, it's a business traveling, but what's the purpose? No special purpose. It's just a traveling. Now, if it has no purpose, then you don't get deduction. When I say purpose, it means it must be incurred, your traveling must be incurred for generating more income. The purpose of the traveling is to produce more income, and then only it's satisfied in the production of gross income. Now, so this is the general principles, all right, of deductibility. Now, but let's look at our case now, right? Now, let's look at our case. We have got this case. Now, you see, our whole idea of the Facebook Live today is to tell you techniques to solve tax audit issues. So we have to share with you a case, a tax audit case done by the Inland Revenue Board, yeah. And now we have this case here of which our client are being audited by the Inland Revenue Board, and there are issues with their traveling expenses, yeah. So let me just tell you, there are two issues over here, yeah. Now let me look at the first issue first, right? There are two issues over here. First issue, our client, right, is a trading company, right, and the director of the company has incurred some traveling expenses to Japan. Yeah, I know a lot of people likes to go to Japan, right? Now, but our client goes to Japan, right? The director went to Japan. The purpose of the traveling is to attend a product exhibition in Japan, right? Product exhibition event in Japan. So I think it's pretty common. It's pretty common for people to travel overseas, right? To attend to certain exhibitions, certain expo, right? Just to look for business opportunity, right? Now, what happened, right? Okay, let's look at the second issue, right? Of course, there's a second issue over here. The second issue over here is our client at the same time, right? Because they're trading, right? They're trading spare parts, yeah? They also incur traveling allowance. Yes, they pay traveling allowance to the staff, right? There was a traveling allowance paid to its staff, which is a salesman, which is very common. You will sometimes pay traveling allowance to your salesman. And this amount has been reported in the EA form, in the form EA of the staff, right, which is correct. But this amount is not declared. It's not declared as an income in the BE form, right? In the form BE of the staff. Now you see a mismatch here, right? The company pays a traveling allowance to the staff, which is a salesman. This amount is declared in its account, of course, right? In its account and in the form EA. But this amount is not declared as an income in the form BE. Now that's a mismatch over here right now. So what could happen, right? What could happen? Now, these two issues were picked up by the Inland Revenue Board during a tax audit. These two issues were picked up, and you know what the Inland Revenue Board says? This is what the Inland Revenue Board says when they did an audit on our client. They say, look, the first issue, when you say you incur traveling expenses, right? You incur traveling expenses to Japan. Well, the first thing the Inland Revenue Board asks the client is, what is the purpose of going there? Of course, the client says, I'm going there to go to some expo, some exhibition, yeah. And the Inland Revenue Board continues by saying that, hey, it looks like you don't have any client, you don't have any supplier at that moment, right? You don't have any client, you have no supplier in Japan. Now, when you have no client, no supplier in Japan, well, why do you go to Japan? Is this really business traveling, or is this a private traveling? So what happened here is the client, right, indeed does not have any client from Japan, does not have any supplier in Japan. Well, because these clients of ours, right, they went to Japan and they go to this exhibition. But in the end, this client did not purchase anything, because this client thinks that this item, this product is not suitable. Therefore, they did not purchase anything. So no supplier, no customer from Japan. So therefore, the Inland Revenue Board then says, this is not business traveling because you have no customer, you have no supply in Japan. So I think this is private traveling. When it is private traveling, it's not business traveling anymore. Therefore, it is not incurred in the production of the gross income of the company. Now, what happened next? Well, I think you would have known, if the Inland Revenue Board says this is not incurred in the production of gross income, they disallowed the whole amount. They disallowed the whole amount of these overseas traveling expenses incurred by the company, and they add everything back, and they want to tax our client more, right? They want them to pay more tax and penalty. Now, that's just the first issue. And that's the second issue as well. Then there's a second issue. If you remember, our client pays a traveling allowance, right? Pays a traveling allowance to the staff, to its staff. But the staff did not declare it in its Form B, right? That means there was a mismatch. The client paid this allowance, declare it in its account, but the staff of our client did not declare it in Form B. So therefore, what the Inland Revenue Board first would suspect is, hey, is this a fictitious traveling allowance? That means, is this something that you don't actually pay, you actually have not paid, but you just claim as you have paid something and you just put it into the EA form? And because the staff thinks that, hey, this is not something that I should receive, therefore I'm not declaring it in Form B. You see, this is what the Inland Revenue Board would suspect. When they see a mismatch, they will suspect that this could be not an expense of the company. It could be a fictitious expense, and the company just simply put it into the accounts, simply declare it in EA form, right? But when the staff thinks that this is not something that I receive, the staff will not declare. In the Form BE. Therefore, the Inland Revenue Board thinks that this could be fictitious. And when they think it is fictitious, it is not incurred in the production of gross income. And again, this allowed the whole amount of traveling expense, traveling allowance paid to the staff, right? Because the staff has not even declared it into his BE form, right? It's not declared as an income. So how did we help the client? Now, I think you will find, hey, this seems a bit weird, right? This is not right. How can the Inland Revenue Board say that? But we have to prove them wrong. We have to prove the Inland Revenue Board is wrong. So what did we do? Now look at what Inland Revenue Board has said. They said, yeah, in issue number 2, our client has declared all this, right? Has declared all this into the EA form and put them into our accounts as well. But what happened in the staff's Form BE, right? BNCP means borang nyata cukai pendapatan, yeah? Borang nyata cukai pendapatan. So what happened in the staff's Form BE is that they only declared, like, such a low amount. So whatever difference over here, the IRB says all these are not allowed, because, right, you said you paid such amount, but your staff did not declare such amount. So this became an issue, and this whole amount is not allowed. So what did we do? Now let's look at the first issue. The first issue about traveling expenses to Japan. Yeah. Now the first issue here, IRB says, hey, you go to Japan, but you have no client in Japan, you have no supplier in Japan. So how can you prove that you go to Japan for business purpose? Why is it not a private traveling? Why is it not private traveling? Why is it a business traveling when you have no client and supplier over there? Now, so we prove to the client, to the Inland Revenue Board, we prove to the IRB that the traveling was indeed a business traveling. we tell them that, hey, this is indeed a traveling, right, business traveling, and our client went to Japan to try to purchase goods, right? They attend the event because this event is related to their spare parts business, right? It's related to their spare part business, and they go to Japan to seek opportunity to buy goods, to buy trading goods. Yeah, but how do we prove that? Because in the end there was no purchase at all. We use secondary evidence. Because we have no evidence for purchase, we use secondary evidence, things like email from the event organizers, brochure of the event. Yeah, we show the Inland Revenue Board, look, there was indeed an email from the organizer inviting our client to Japan to participate in this exhibition. And there was also brochure, right? Brochure of the event that coincides with the traveling dates, of our client. The client went to Japan during these dates, and the event is during that date as well. So we show the Inland Revenue Board the email. Yes, an email can be an evidence of business traveling, right? You see, this email comes from the organizer in Japan and asks our client, well, have you booked your flight to your trip to Tokyo, And actually, there are more correspondence. Of course, this is just one of them that I'm showing you. There are more correspondence from the organizer and also the brochure as well. Now, you may think, hey, all these are not financial documents. You see, this is not financial documents. Is this really something necessary for me to keep, right? When it is not financial documents, well, yes, you still need to keep them because these are evidence. These are evidence to show that your traveling is indeed a business traveling and not just a private traveling. So we show the Inland Revenue Board the email, not just this one. There are more emails, right? And the brochure, has to coincide with the traveling dates. And the brochure shows that the event, the exhibition, is related to our client's business, our client's spare parts business. So with all that, only we were able to argue that this is business traveling. But what about the second issue? Now, the second issue of which our client paid a traveling allowance to the staff. Now, you may think, hey, if I have paid the staff and the staff does not declare his income, it's out of my control, what? It's not my fault, but it's the staff who did not declare the income, not me, right? I have indeed paid. He has worked for me. I paid him allowance, and therefore he should declare. If he doesn't declare, how can you blame me? Yes, you are right. The Inland Revenue Board cannot blame you, right, when your staff did not declare the income into his own Form BE. But you got to prove that this allowance is a genuine allowance, right? You got to prove that. Why are you paying such allowance, right? A lot of people would say, hey, as long as I have paid some money to my staff, and if my staff has declared, then it should close the whole case. No, not necessarily. You don't just show that you have paid some amount to your staff. You have to show that this amount paid is actually in the production of gross income. That means your staff must have done something for you and you pay him an allowance, right? Then only it shows in the production of gross income because your staff is generating income from you and therefore you pay him an allowance. So how do we prove that? We substantiate it first of all with bank-in slip payment proof. Now this is to show that the company, right, our client, indeed paid his staff, right? We show the bank-in slip, we show the payment proof, right? That, hey, money has been paid. We also show a travel log. Yes, we also show a travel log, like where did this staff travel to, right? Why are we paying him a traveling allowance, right? Because most of the time we will say, oh, we pay you a traveling allowance because you're traveling outstation, you're traveling overseas, therefore we pay you the allowance, right? So we have the travel log. So this travel log is shown to the Inland Revenue Board that this staff, this salesperson, indeed has traveled here, traveled there, outstation or within Klang Valley or even overseas, and therefore he deserves a traveling allowance. Therefore, we pay him a traveling allowance for that. And with all this, right, and of course the EA form, right, the EA form shows very clearly the customer or the client of ours, right, the company indeed has declared it in the EA form. So all these proves that the allowance is genuine. It's not a fictitious allowance. Now, what's the rationale behind these two issues, right? Very simple. As long as your expenses are incurred wholly and exclusively in the production of gross income, you would qualify for tax deduction, right? So the rule is always very simple. You must be able to show that whatever you incur, whatever you pay, the intention, the purpose is to generate more income, right? It is to incur, to produce more gross income, right? And that will satisfy Section 33. Okay, so traveling expenses, right, incurred for performing duties, right, official duties like attending products exhibition, visiting client, having meetings with client, all these, as long as they are related to the production of gross income, they will be allowable. So what we were doing is to show to the Inland Revenue Board what we have all done over here is actually in line with Section 33, and therefore they should be given a tax deduction. See that? So what's our advice to you? How do we prevent this kind of issues from happening in future in case the Inland Revenue Board comes to check on your account, right? Now look at the first one, right? We say, please ensure you have a travel log. I know a lot of people will be very lazy. I know you'll be lazy in maintaining a travel log, yeah? But try to maintain a travel log of where your staff, especially salesperson, has gone to, right? If they say to go to the meeting, have a simple record that, this day they have gone to meeting, ask them to prepare for you. Because only with all these, it shows that all your traveling expenses incurred are for business purpose, right? Because if you have a travel log maintained to record the purposes of the traveling expenses incurred, such as the date, the places visited, the persons visited, which client, what kind of business has been negotiated. If you have all these details, it shows that your traveling is business traveling, and therefore all your traveling expenses or even traveling allowance, they will be incurred in the production of gross income. And also, always remember, secondary evidence is very important. Most people would only keep primary evidence. Primary evidence, which means financial evidence, right? You may probably keep your receipts, you will keep your invoice, but sometimes secondary evidence is also important. Things like your emails, your brochures, right? These are important as well. Of course, the primary evidence like payment proof is utmost important, but secondary evidence are also important, especially when you need to prove that you're traveling is for business purpose and it's not a private traveling, right? Because sometimes, right, even if you are doing finance, right, you will probably say, hey, all these secondary evidence like email, like brochures, yeah, these are not financial documents that I should keep as a finance person. But for tax deductibility purpose, these are the things that you should keep, because you want to justify your purpose of expenses incurred. Yeah, so these are our advices to you. Yeah, all right, now let me look at some question. Okay, but before that, yeah, as usual, now always let me remind you this. If in case, right, you meet an audit, right, if the Inland Revenue comes to you and they perform a tax audit on your accounts, right, don't be afraid. First of all, don't be afraid. Once you receive a tax audit letter, or even tax findings, yeah, from the Inland Revenue Board, don't be afraid, because you can always message us, send us that tax audit letter, right? You can drop us a message, right? Go to our Facebook page, either YYC Advisors Facebook page or my own Facebook page, Tax Guru Zen Chow Facebook page. Send us a message, send us that letter that you have received. We can always give you a complimentary online consultation. We want to help you to solve tax audit issues, right? Just like the issues that I've shared with you just now. I think logically you would say, hey, how can the Inland Revenue Board suddenly just, say that these are fictitious expenses? Well, they can suspect these are fictitious expenses. You have to prove them wrong. You have to prove them wrong by showing them evidence. So these are the things that we want to help you, right? We want to prove them wrong. We want to solve your tax audit issues. Yeah. So if you receive any tax audit issues, feel free to send a copy over to us. We can always do a complimentary online consultation for you and see how we can help you to solve your tax audit issues. All right. Okay, now let's go into Q&A. Yes, I see two questions already. One from Fion, another one from Chiang. Okay, let me just answer to them one by one, yeah? Okay, let me just go back to this page in case you want to know, what's our Facebook page, yeah? All right, Fion asks, okay, but traveling allowance will include in EA under allowance item, right? So mean the staff compulsory need declare final amount in EA, including travel allowance, right? Yes, Fion, you are right. You are right. Now, if you put these traveling allowance into the EA form, rightfully under the allowance portion, right? They should be declaring the allowance. They should be declaring allowance, right? Yes, it is a compulsory amount that your staff has to declare, unless this allowance is an exempted traveling allowance. Yeah, I think some of you may know. Yeah, if it is for an official duty allowance, right? If it's an official duty allowance, one staff can get exemption up to 6,000 ringgit exempted, right? 6,000 ringgit of traveling allowance exempted if the traveling allowance is for official duties. But of course, you must show that this staff of yours is performing official duties to earn that traveling allowance. That means this person must be someone that needs to travel a lot, like salesperson, for example, right? You can't say a receptionist needs to travel a lot, but that is not for official duties, all right? So now, Theon, you say this staff should actually declare. Yes, the staff should declare, but what happened is the staff did not declare. Right? So when the staff did not declare, there could be two reasons. One reason is the staff says, hey, I have not received such amount. Why should I declare? Right? The second thing is that the staff just didn't want to declare on his own. Yeah. So you see, the IRB thinks that it could be the first part. It could be the first reason. That means the staff thinks that, hey, I've not received such amount, so why do I want to declare that? And they think the company did not pay him that allowance, and or the allowance incurred is not actually for business purpose. You see, so that's why the Inland Revenue Board wants the company to prove that this is indeed incurred for business purpose. So we help the client, we show the Inland Revenue Board that this is actually for business, and yes, therefore the company gets the deduction, right? All right. Chiang is asking, how about a fixed monthly traveling allowance in EA form entitled to 6,000 tax exemption allowance? Yes, Chiang, just like how I answered to Fion earlier, if you are giving a traveling allowance to your staff, and your staff receives the traveling allowance for official duties, right? For the purpose of official duty. Of course, yes, the staff can get up to 6,000 ringgit exemption, but you have to prove that this allowance given is indeed for official duty. That means the staff is in the position that needs him to travel, right? He needs to travel to meet clients, to go to run errands for the company, right? So if you have these proof, if you can justify that this traveling allowance is for official duty, yes, you can give a traveling allowance to your staff, and your staff can be exempted up to 6,000 ringgit in a year. And when you fill up your EA form, you will fill up at the bottom part. Yes, just like what you say, right? Fill F, yeah. Put it into the last section that says exempted allowance, yeah, into the EA form. Then the staff need not to actually declare that as his income because it's exempted, yeah. Okay, Jasmine William is asking this question. Jasmine is asking, director travel to overseas group company for group internal meeting. Is this tax allowable? Yes. Now, Jasmine, if the director travel overseas because he has to attend to a group meeting, right? Group meeting, and this is this meeting is actually relating to his own business. That means this company is under a group, and when he attends to the meeting is actually relating to his own company's operation. Then yes, this traveling is allowable. But how to prove? How to prove that this meeting is a business meeting, right? Because if you, let's say you travel to Australia, let's say, right, but you have no customers, no supplier in Australia, first thing IRB, when they come, they will say, hey, you have no supplier in Australia, you have no customer in Australia, I will not allow this because I don't think you are going there for business. But you have to show that, hey, I'm going there for business meeting, I'm going there for a group meeting, and this group is my own company group, right? So I'm going there to discuss operations on how to make more sales for my company. So you need secondary evidence. You need secondary evidence such as email from the counterpart, right? Email from the counterpart that asks you to go over to discuss about business operations. So you need the agenda. Now, what's the agenda about? Right? The agenda is to discuss business, business operations or business sales or things like that, right? So when you have the agenda, when you have the email, that will prove this is a business traveling and it will be tax deductible. Okay. All right. Next question is from Ng Chen Ho. Ng Chen Ho says, the 6,000 cap, is it relating to per diem? What do you mean by is it relating to per diem? Are you talking about? Sorry, Chen Ho, I don't really get this. Yeah. Maybe because I didn't get the per diem. What does it mean really? Yeah, per diem. Okay. Maybe you can rephrase it a bit. But let me just explain about the 6,000. 6,000 cap is per year, right? Per year, right? I don't know what do you mean by per diem, okay? But it's per year, right? You can give it at one shot, you can give it every month, but as long as it is not exceeding 6,000, the 6,000 will be exempted. But any excess, if you let's say give a traveling allowance more than 6,000, right? It's still okay, but the exemption is only up to 6,000. Anything in excess of 6,000 will be taxable. Will be taxable in the hand of the staff. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next question over here first. Chi Yang is asking further. This fixed monthly traveling allowance is granted to the finance and admin manager as a package of the payroll and not for sales staff, still entitled to the 6,000 exemption. Chi Yang, this is something that you need to be very careful. Let's see. If you say you are giving a fixed monthly traveling allowance to a finance and admin manager, you have to justify that the admin and finance manager needs to travel out of the office, right, to perform some official duties. That means part of their job scope is to run errands. Let's say they have to go to the bank, they need to send documents to clients, with their own transport, with their own car. They have to do something out of the office. They need to travel out of the office, right, for official duties. If you can show that part of their official duties includes traveling for official duties, then yes, this traveling allowance can be for official duties and it can be exempted, right? But if their job scope doesn't require them to do so at all, if their job scope is just to stay in the office, every day travel from home and come to the office and stay in the office, when after work just go home, then this traveling allowance is not for official duties anymore. It's just an extra allowance, maybe for them to travel between home to office. Traveling between home to office gets no exemption, yeah. There's no exemption for traveling between home to office, yeah. So if the job scope requires them to perform official duties, yes, they still get the 6,000 allowance, exempted. But if it is not for official duties, right, if it's just an extra allowance given, it is still a taxable amount. Yeah, Chi Yang, I hope you get this part, huh? Okay, FK Wong, 6,000 tax exemption allowance. What? FK Wong, I didn't get your question. Yeah, so just I've already told you, yes, there's a section in Form EA, the very last part. I forgot whether it is section F or not. Yeah, there's a last part bottom that says allowance exempted. That is the part where you have to fill up the 6,000 traveling allowance being exempted, right? If this staff is entitled for that exemption. Okay, Chen Ho, thanks for clarifying further. You say per diem claims are like for breakfast, lunch, dinner, laundry. For example, 50 ringgit per day in Malaysia and 100 ringgit outside Malaysia per day. Okay, Chen Ho, I'll put it this way. Now, if you claim that this allowance is for breakfast, lunch, dinner, laundry, then it will be a little bit challenging, right? It will be a bit challenging to say that this is exempted for tax purpose. So I would say, why don't you just make it simple, simplify it, and say as long as you are traveling in Malaysia, outstation in Malaysia, I'll give you a traveling allowance because you have to go to this client's place, outstation. Now you're entitled to a 50 ringgit traveling allowance per day. If you are going outside of Malaysia, I'll give you a 100 ringgit traveling allowance per day. Don't mention this is for breakfast, lunch, dinner, laundry, etc. Right? Then this allowance would be officially a traveling allowance, and because you can only get this allowance when you perform official duties, right? When you go outstation, when you go outside of Malaysia, that will be exempted already, up to 6,000 a year. Yeah, Chen Ho? Okay, yes, for the purpose of carrying our work, yes, then you get exemption. Okay. Then FK Wong say, but under field F is gratuity for the period. So that's why I say FK Wong. I cannot be sure whether it's section F or not. I cannot be sure because I don't have an EA form right in front of me, and I cannot remember what section is that. But FK Wong, if you look at form EA, you go to the bottom part, the very bottom part of form EA, yeah, you will see a part where it says exempted allowances or benefit, right? It may not be section F, it may be another alphabet, yeah, but that is a section where you fill up the exempted allowance, yeah. So don't fill up in the gratuity, please don't fill up in the gratuity. Okay, it can be another section, because I don't have the EA form right in front of me, so I can't tell you exactly which section it is, but it's at the bottom. It's really at the bottom of EA form. Okay, let me carry on. Okay, I have Tan Siu Lee. Tan Siu Lee is asking, what about fixed car allowance given every month to staff, and staff is fully responsible for car maintenance? Is the car allowance fully taxable in the hand of the staff? Now, Tan Siu Lee, if you give a car allowance, if you call it a car allowance, yes, it is taxable. It is taxable solely if you call it a car allowance. So what I would suggest you is, now, if you say the staff is, because you say the staff is responsible for the car maintenance, but is the car used for business purpose? If you say part of the job scope of the staff is to travel outside to meet clients, right, to send documents to clients, right, to travel for official duties, this is part of his job scope, and he needs to use his own car. He needs to use his own car to travel around for the company. And you call it traveling allowance, this will be exempted up to 6,000 in a year, right? So don't call it car allowance. If you say the staff needs to use his own car to travel for official duties, to perform job for the company, call it traveling allowance. As long as you can show that his job scope needs him to do so. Then you call it traveling allowance, 6,000 ringgit exemption per year for the staff, okay? All right, Feng Shen Lim is asking, 6,000 applicable for managing director? Now, Feng Shen Lim, okay, is it Feng Shen Lim? Or okay, now Feng Xian Lim, okay. Now, if this 6,000 is given to managing director, unfortunately, I would say this exemption may not be allowed, may not be given. Why? Because the rule is very simple. This exemption is only given to someone who does not have control over the company. If this managing director has control over the company, whether this managing director is having shares more than 50%, or by the operation of the company, right? The managing director is given the authority to control, to make decision for the company, even though if he doesn't have more than 50% shares, once he can control the company, this exemption is not available anymore, right? Feng Xian Lim, unfortunately, this is only given to people who doesn't have control over the company. You might ask why? Why is that so? Because if you have control over the company, the IRB thinks that there could be an abuse. Because you can just simply use the company to pay you extra 6,000 and you don't actually pay tax for that. So then you may ask, but what if the managing director needs to travel here and there? Now, if the managing director needs to travel here and there, use the mileage system. I would say, don't let the managing director lose out, right? Whenever the managing director travels here and there, use the mileage system, record where this managing director has gone to, claim back mileage accordingly. Then it will become an expense of the company, and it's not even an income of the managing director because it is a mileage claim. So do that, Feng Xian Lim. Okay, yes, you're welcome, Chiang. You're welcome. Yes, glad you found it, FK Wong. Glad that you found it on your EA form. Okay, Jasmine William is asking further. If I give fixed traveling allowance or daily traveling allowance plus mileage claim, are all these tax deductible? Now, Jasmine, it really depends. Now, if you say mileage claim, definitely mileage claim is tax deductible. That's not a problem, right? Not a problem. Traveling allowance is also deductible. Now, from in the perspective of a company, right? From the perspective of a company, traveling allowance is definitely tax deductible, right? If you can show that this is for business purpose, just like what I show you, right? Traveling allowance in our case just now, if you can show this is for business purpose, then yes, it is deductible. But whether or not it is exempt exempted in the hand of the staff. It depends on whether the staff is receiving traveling allowance to perform official duties or not, right? So Jasmine, that is what is important, yeah? So from company's perspective, it is deductible, but what you need to take care is your staff's point, right? Your staff's perspective. Okay, Fion Ng is asking if total traveling expense per year is 10,000, so exempt 6,000, 4,000 need to put into EA form for which part? Now, I think you're trying to say that total traveling allowance is 10,000, right? So 6,000 is exempted. Now the balance of 4,000 you just put back at the normal allowance, so at the upper part, right? There's an upper part in the EA form that says allowance, right? That says allowance, right? Allowance. Yeah, you can put it under the allowance. So the 4,000 you can put it under the allowance at the upper part of EA form. Of course, the exempted 6,000 you put it at the bottom of the EA form that says exempted. Okay. Okay, Clement says, yeah, normally if traveling expense fraction out for private purpose says 2/3 as non-deductible expense, is that mean that only 2/3 shall be recorded in the form EA as benefit? Clement, now I think what you're trying to say here is if a company has incurred traveling expenses and then you say, oh, there's 2/3 is called a private expense, right? Because you say fraction out private purpose say 2/3. Now, so the 2/3 has been added back as private expense here. So if you have already done that, yeah, then actually there is nothing else for you to put it into EA form, right? Because you say this is traveling expenses, what? This is not even traveling allowance, right? If it's an allowance given to the staff, then you can charge out everything. You can charge out everything as your deductible expense, 100%. You don't have to take 2/3 out already. But if you say the traveling expense, 2/3 is a private expense, it's not even an allowance given to the staff, then you don't even have to put this into the EA form because it has been added back in your company's tax computation. Okay, all right. Yes, Feng Shen Lim, you are welcome. You're welcome. Hope I'm glad that is cleared. Now, very good. I've answered to all questions, and yep, again, thank you so much. It's already 11:46 right now. Yeah, as usual, like I said, every week we will have about 45 minutes of live session, which I will go through with you on some tax audit issues and how to solve the tax audit issues. And yes, today we're talking about traveling because this is something that I think most of you would incur. Now, again, let me remind you, yeah, if in case you receive any tax audit letter, right, you receive any tax audit findings of which the Inland Revenue Board says, oh, this is not deductible, that is not deductible, and you don't agree to that, please don't simply agree to the findings, right? Always come to us, bring your tax audit letter to us, send us a message to our Facebook page, right, whether either it's YYC Advisors or my very own Facebook page, Tax Guru Zen Chow. We can look into the case and give you a complimentary consultation. We can see how to solve this case for you. Don't just agree blindly to the tax findings, yeah, remember that. Don't just agree blindly to that, yeah. But of course, yeah, if you say, hey, wow, this seems really good, right, if I can get a consultation from you, but I also want to learn more from you. If you want to learn more from me, like I said, every week we will be reviewing one technique. We will be revealing one technique to solve tax audit issue for all of you. And if you say you have missed out the previous techniques, you have missed out the previous sessions, feel free to always go to my Facebook page. Remember, go to my Tax Guru Zen Chow Facebook page, like, share, and most importantly, follow my Facebook page. Then you will see all the videos, right, that I have done previously that tells you how to solve tax audit issues. And whenever I have live again, you will be the first to know that I am doing live already, right? So please follow my Facebook page, Tax Guru Zen Chow. Okay, I have 3 more questions. I'll just quickly answer to them before I call it to an end. FK Wong is asking, during the previous year, all were allocated as normal traveling allowance. If we start doing it in 2020 October, 3 months as tax exempted, will LHDN suspicious? No, they won't. FK Wong, trust me, if you can prove that this traveling allowance is for business purpose, if you can prove that this is for official duties, they will not suspect anything because this exemption is given. It is given, right? So you can still go back into year 2020 and look at all the allowances that you have paid to your staff. Are they actually doing official duties for the company to have that traveling allowance? If they are, then yes, this is exempted, right? This is a traveling allowance exempted. Okay, Sharon Tay, traveling allowance need not to give bills. No need. Traveling allowance, you don't have to give bills as long as it is actually, as long as it's stated clearly, either in the employment contract or in a handbook. Like for example, if this person becomes your staff, right, in the employment contract, or you can still do a supplementary employment contract with them, you can do a supplementary contract with them and say, as a staff, right, working for us, your duty is to do this, is to do that, and because of that, we are giving you a monthly traveling allowance, let's say of 500, let's say, as long as you have that black and white, right, stated very clearly. Or you say, oh, if you travel outstation, right, you put in that handbook, and say, if you travel outstation, if you travel within Malaysia, we give you 50 ringgit traveling allowance per day. If you travel overseas, we give you 100 ringgit traveling allowance per day. If it is stated clearly in the handbook, then that is enough. You don't need to have bills. All right, Sharon? Okay, Yap Chi Ying is saying, if the traveler could not provide receipt or invoice for taxi fare or food in overseas traveling, what's the impact? Now, Chiying, it depends on how you do this. If you say they are coming back to claim taxi fare, claim their food, right, then you need the receipts. If you don't have the receipts, unfortunately, you won't be able to charge this out as expenses, right? You can't charge this out as a taxi fare incurred overseas. You can't charge this out as food that you have to spend when you're overseas. So you won't be able to charge this out because you don't have evidence. So one thing that you can work around, Chiying, is that use traveling expense, right? Use traveling allowance, right? If you can, use traveling allowance. If you say your staff has to go overseas and incur all these expenses on his own, so how to reimburse him? Put something into the handbook and say, if you travel overseas, we will reimburse you with a traveling allowance of how much, but make sure you have that in handbook. Then you will be reimbursing them with an amount, right? And they don't have to pay tax for that because this is already in the policy. But of course, the best thing is to have all the receipts to claim. Then you will claim direct expense, right? Otherwise, the one way to work around is to use traveling allowance, right? Because it's exempted in their hand also. Okay, Feifun say thank you. Yo, we are welcome. We are welcome, Feifun. Remember to follow, right, Feifun, Carl? Remember to follow my page. You will get more videos, more updates from me from time to time, yeah? And yes, thank you also, CP Xiao. Thank you so much, all right? Yes, thank you, Feng Lan. Thank you, Feng Lan. Thanks for also tagging all your friends to see our Facebook Live. All right, looks like it's almost an hour already. Once again, thank you very much. Thank you for all your time, for joining us. Remember to like, share, follow my Facebook page, Tax Guru Zen Chow, and always remember, if you receive any tax audit letters, come to us. We are here to help you solve tax audit issue. Because what we want to do over here in YYC is we want to solve your tax audit issue. Yeah. All right. Thank you again, and hope to see you again next week. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice time. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend ahead. Bye bye. Bye bye.
我相信我可以，有目标就往上爬。你相信你可以，勇敢的